Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another best of 5 series in between the two pro players from the Starcraft 2 scene. So let me just start once again by introducing the players to you guys as we have spawned here in the lower right. In the red it is SCARLETT from Canada and her opponent. In the upper left in the blue it is ZEST from South Korea as spawning here on Pride of Altaris, I believe a 2 spawning location map. So yeah, nice international engagement, South Korea versus Canada. And let's just see exactly what they have once again prepared for us. As we see ZEST, just like many Protosses do, they really like to be annoying as much as possible just to cancel this first expansion point from the Zerg. But SCARLETT already reacting here with a drone, and I believe it is not going to be a scouting drone. He did know. She goes straight actually for her gold base, so not deciding to take this position here. Actually she's heading straight for this base. So interesting and perhaps a little bit of a risky move by her, as this base is of course a little bit exposed here outside of her main. So yeah, let's just see how things continue. ZEST of course being annoying as much as he can, just like all the Protosses. And we also see ZEST open up here with a pylon and a gateway, so the pretty standard open up for any Protoss. He also has gas, and let's see at his next movements here. Of course he's saving up for a Nexus, so Nexus should pop out really soon. And let's also see when exactly is he going to be scouting that gold mine, and by the looks of it he's heading straight towards this. We also saw a spawning pool from SCARLETT. Interesting enough, I don't think the probe made it here down, so he might have not scouted this location, as he's now returning back to the base from SCARLETT. Well, let's just see the next movements. I believe he did quite see it as he moved around this position, so he should be able to know that SCARLETT has indeed a nice greedy expansion with gold into that position. Now let's have a look once again at the main. There is a cybernetics core and a second gas now being made here for ZEST. So interesting stuff. One gas also up for SCARLETT. She has a spawning pool. We can also see the upper part with the production tab, just in case I'm missing something. And now of course ZEST pretty much knows that it is a expansion into this location. Creep will also be visible. We also have the first queen out really soon for SCARLETT. So nice greedy gameplay here by her. Let's see if this is going to work out against ZEST, whose expansion here is also about to finish. And not really a wall in made by ZEST. Interesting enough, one adept is also being produced here really quick. And let's see if is he going perhaps into a rush of adepts. Another adept is also being produced, so two adepts can of course one shot one drone. And yes, SCARLETT also taking here her next expansion. Still of course no tier 2, as more and more larvae is being injected in towards those hatcheries. And yeah, of course a very defensive gameplay now here by SCARLETT. She's waiting perhaps for that speed to be done for those Zerglings, so she might be a little bit more aggressive. So yeah, ZEST knows of course the timing as he adds another gateway and the wall in pretty much complete by him, so it's going to be really hard for those Zerglings to make it here through. We see 33 workers for ZEST and 29 for SCARLETT, as we also see of course, just like many Protosses, a Stargate. So the first option for ZEST is a Void Ray, perhaps to clear those overlords. But yes, SCARLETT nicely reacting towards that as she's bringing that overlord back, and the Void Ray is continuing here his quest. Let's see if SCARLETT has some entire. Of course here she has 2 queens, 1 spore. This expansion is also about to finish. No spore here into the main, so interesting enough, just 1 queen. This could be a nice target for the Void Ray. And let's see that slowly but steadily the Void Ray is just patrolling here this location, as SCARLETT is now perhaps going to deal some damage towards this Nexus. This is not that many defenses for ZEST here, just one adept nicely positioned however, and the reinforcements are nicely here for ZEST, as they should be able to clear this off. But one pylon is about to fall, and yeah, let's see ZEST also attacking now SCARLETT. 2 drones have been killed, so pretty good trade for ZEST, who is able to snipe those drones and also a couple of Zerglings. So yeah, interesting moves here as we are closing at the 5-minute mark. We see the tier 2 actually being upgraded here at the expansion point, so interesting stuff. And Roach Warrant also being added by SCARLETT. So she's of course known for her timing pushes against the Protoss. Let's see if is indeed going to be a timing push. And as I remember correctly, this is actually from a previous patch, so this means that the queens can heal themselves, not on creep. So it is still 2022, but on the previous patch. And then let's see, ZEST tries of course to snipe one drone or two, does so, trade 2 adepts for 2 drones, so pretty fair stuff by him. Let's check his main, let's check how many gateways he has. 2 into this location, let's check his main, actually 2, even 3 stargates now. And we have a fleet beacon, so we might see some carriers for ZEST. Really interesting stuff. So carriers or even Tempest, it could actually be for ZEST, as he's going really heavily into those air units. We see a couple of probes being sniped by SCARLETT, but yeah, the Void Ray should be able to fend this off immediately. And I believe that SCARLETT has no vision of this main, so she doesn't really know what exactly is coming towards her way. She really needs an overlord or an overseer with speed just to get into this main from ZEST. And look at that, we have triple Tempests now being produced by ZEST, so an interesting strategy by him, as he's also adding that forge just for more upgrades. Yeah, so it's a fast Tempest rush attempt here by ZEST, as he also has now vision onto this location. So yeah, once again 61 workers for ZEST, 65 for SCARLETT. SCARLETT of course will try to be as annoying as possible with those Zerglings. She's going to try of course to snipe as many probes as possible, but the wall-in looks really nicely here by ZEST, and he also has a shield battery into this location with this one Void Ray. So once again, it's really hard for the Zerg to punch here through. Even the pylons are nicely being positioned just to make it even more harder for the Zerg to punch through. So we see another expansion by SCARLETT. Let's see where those Tempests are. There are the first 3 Tempests at around the 7-minute mark. Actually, it's 4 already of them, and even more are getting pumped out. And we even see those upgrades going on for the Tempest. And I believe that ZEST is actually moving out here. He actually has 5 Tempests as he's now moving out on the map. We see also the upgrade here for those units. Some cannons are also being produced. The Spire is being produced for SCARLETT, so she's sensing that something interesting is coming towards her way, as she's also pushing out now with Hydras. No, actually those are Zerglings. Ravagers are being produced, Roaches, and we see now those Tempests attacking this one gold base. So this was the idea from ZEST, just to attack that base. He has good vision, he's on the high grounds, he might snipe 1 queen or 2. Look at that, he actually can one-shot those queens with those Tempests. Those Tempests are really strong, but at the same time we see a strong push here by SCARLETT into the other expansion point from ZEST. So ZEST really has to bring those Tempests back, or is he just going to snipe this location? There's really so many units for SCARLETT here. Nice micro by ZEST with those Void Rays, but he really needs many enforcers. Some Stalkers are being added, and Roaches with Ravagers are into this location. Still the Tempest finally have sniped this one hatchery, but they really have to return back home as fast as possible, as now some probes will be snapped. The Nexus is also taking quite some damage, so really lots and lots of damage here towards ZEST, and ZEST still into this location, still perhaps tries to snap those reinforcements, but his main is under attack really soon. He has nicely walled in, but there's so many units for SCARLETT. There is that teleport for ZEST, as he's once again going to be able to snipe those queens, but is it enough? The shield battery does miracles of course, and more units have fallen. 8 workers for SCARLETT, 15 for ZEST. Even the probes have to be pulled now, so lots and lots of damage here against ZEST, as he's losing worker after worker, and those units just keep pouring here through. But the Tempests are nicely hidden in the back, they're not really touched. However, the Nexus has fallen. SCARLETT has to retreat a little bit. The damage has been done, 22 probes have been killed, and even now we have some Corruptors in the air, so those Corruptors of course really vital for SCARLETT, as they're getting healed by those queens. And look at that, the Corruptors actually moving forward. The Void Rays are already hurt, Tempests are still holding on, reinforcements are coming in for ZEST, but it's just so much Zerg here. Let's see if ZEST somehow can survive here. 33 workers have already been killed, so SCARLETT pretty much ignoring those air units, is going straight for those probes, and really nice job by her, as by the looks of it 40 probes will be killed really soon. A nice job here by SCARLETT. Tempests are still alive, so the Tempest is for the only hope for ZEST. In the end, finally ZEST can hold, but look at that, all of his walling has been killed, his nexus is pretty much obliterated, and the only thing that is being left now at the 10-minute mark are those void rays with those tempests. So let's see if he can perhaps somehow kill once again. The nexus is once again up by SCARLETT, so really nice job by her. And yeah, let's see if a miracle can somehow happen here for ZEST. He's down to 32 workers versus the 75. Of course, he has to rebuild all of his production units. And in he comes with those void rays, with those tempests. Let's see what exactly SCARLETT has. A couple of spores, some queens, and really many corruptors. And those corruptors with that healing would of course deal massive amounts of damage. And even the reinforcements are now pouring in for SCARLETT. A nice kiting back and forth here by ZEST as they're going to be to engage, but the void rays have finally activated their power upgrade here, going to attack much stronger. SCARLETT is pretty much waiting for that power to expire, and now she's coming in with some reinforcements, with so many corruptors that are getting healed, and yet the Tempest can't escape unless they teleport back home. And it looks like, yes indeed, SCARLETT might have done it. ZEST tries of course to micro back, tries to bring those reinforcements, but it's just so many corruptors. Yes indeed, and this is going to be the GG. So SCARLETT taking game number 1. What a crazy game number 1 we had here. Now let's just jump straight into game number 2. And we're back with game number 2 in between SCARLETT and ZEST. This time they're spawning on Hardwire. Once again, let me just start by introducing the players to you guys as we're spawning here in the upper right. In the red, it is SCARLETT from Canada, and her opponent in the lower left in the blue, it is ZEST from South Korea. So currently SCARLETT leading 1-0. We will just have to ignore this score right here, as by the looks of it we have the same open up here from ZEST with his probe straight away into the expansion point. And let's have a look at SCARLETT's opening. No fast spool by her. I believe she's going to go straight into that expansion, but yeah, the timing is really nicely done by ZEST. Actually, if she was fast enough, but then again she lacked those minerals, so she could have taken the hatchery. She has to actually take the hatchery into another point. This time no gold base onto this map. Let's have a look what her strategy is going to be. Is she once again going to try that timing push, which she's famous for, a really strong push against the Protosses, and what exactly is going to be the reaction for ZEST? What is exactly is going to be the difference? He tried a nice rush with those tempests. It could have been really nicely for the defense against some roaches and ravagers, but yeah, in the end SCARLETT proving to be a little bit much stronger in game number 1, so we have a 1-0 lead. The gas is up for ZEST as he's also saving up minerals for that expansion, just like in game number 1. So the pretty standard open up by ZEST against SCARLETT, and the same can be said of course here for SCARLETT. She took her gas. There's that spawning pool, a little bit of a late spawning pool, and the probe sees of course everything she does. Really high APM, around 700, even 1100. Wow, really clicks a lot onto that mouse and keyboard. We also have the cybernetic score, so like I told you, the pretty same stuff just like in game number 1. And let's just see the timing from the Stargate. Or is it going to be a Stargate for ZEST? Perhaps it's going to try to make something else. Yeah, let's see, the first queens are also being produced, and we will also have to look at the timing from that second expansion point for SCARLETT, as the upgrades also have been started for the Zerg. Some drones are being pulled. So yeah, the first adapt, it looks like the same open up just like in game number 1. Is there going to be a difference? We see, oh hold on, we actually see robotics facility bay here for ZEST. So this is the difference, no Stargate for him, straight into robotics facility. Let's see what exactly is he going to be doing. Some immortals would be interesting. Even a drop could have happened with a prism. We're about to find out what exactly the plans are from ZEST against SCARLETT this time. Even a Stalker is being moved out really soon, as the entrance should of course be blocked as fast as possible here for ZEST. So yeah, SCARLETT still pretty standard. Still only Zerglings with queens, no roach warrant yet, as slowly but steadily we're closing at the 5-minute mark. More and more queens are being produced, of course lava is being ejected. And yeah, let's see, as this one overlord sees of course now everything that is happening here onto that expansion point from the Protoss. We see that second gateway, one stalker is out. Yeah, I'm pretty curious to see what exactly he's going to be doing with this one robotics facility, where we see a prism being warped. We see the Twilight Council, so we might see an upgrade for those adepts. It could be a mass adept push. Hold on, we actually see a Dark Shrine, so this could be a drop with Dark Templars against the Zerg, and the Zerg has no tier 2 upgrade, so there won't be any vision for SCARLETT, so she might be into some serious trouble really soon, as this one Overlord is really important to survive, to give vision. But luckily here for ZEST, he has the prism, has to show the prism as there is this one stalker. So right now SCARLETT perhaps thinking that it will be an adept push, it could be a push with some stalkers, as some Zerglings of course will not make it here through. They're just chasing now this one prism just to see exactly what is coming towards her way, and there's the tier 2 upgrade immediately getting mutated, so which of course is also expecting something out of the ordinary. There is 2 more gateways, there are those Dark Shrine also about to be finished. So in come the Stalkers. Do they have blink? That is the question. They could nicely blink here forward. They will just snap a couple of queen eggs. And yeah, let's see. SCARLETT is of course prepared. She has some Zerglings, she has some queens. So ZEST might try to teleport some units with this one prism. And there it is. What exactly? Already he has Dark Templars. So this could be really deadly. Splitting those Dark Templars. 2 are now on the way for this expansion point. Is there vision? Yes, of course there are some spores, so I completely forgot about the spores. The spores give of course vision. Yet sadly for SCARLETT, she has no spores into that main, so one queen is about to get snapped. A really nice job by ZEST here, who has splitted his troops all over the map. So yeah, lots and lots of damage being taken. 6 drones have been snapped already. Mining has been delayed, so really great early game for ZEST, as SCARLETT waits for her overseer, and there he is. So yeah, ZEST has to retreat, but the economic damage has already been done with those 6 kills, and even more of them are being produced. Actually now ZEST deciding to go for Archons, so Archons with that splash damage also really strong, and at the same time he even went for his expansion. So let's see what those 2 Archons should be able to do here. Really lots and lots of splash damage, and remember Archons can also shoot air. One queen has been sniped, the overseer as well. There's that evolution chamber, so much damage, even though 2 drones. SCARLETT needs to be careful against those Archons. Really tanky with those heals, and look at those drones. Sadly for SCARLETT, she's not microing them, and she only has those queens actually out. Now finally a couple of roaches to come out, but really great execution here for ZEST, and he might even deal so much more splash damage against those units. Finally the roaches come in, so the roaches should be able to hold this, but a nice micro for ZEST, and even one Archon here with 10 kills, and the drones are also really pretty much hurt. So what a great execution. And finally ZEST bringing here more and more units towards SCARLETT. There is a spore, but there are no units to defend, so once again 2 drones, 3 drones, even the drones have to now fight against this one Dark Templar. The Dark Templar already with 6 kills, and the drones do take it out, but there are more units here for ZEST, as 10 more drones have been killed, and worker wise they're at the same count, but this is really bad for the Zerg. And let's not forget all of that mining time delayed. So SCARLETT has to of course split her troops. She has to leave units left and right to defend, and finally the Archon's shields do give in, as ZEST is going to micro them out of danger and perhaps going to try once again to attack. Let's just check the main from ZEST really quick, what exactly his next steps are going to be. Just a couple of gateways, so he's going into mass gateway units, as we see some zealots now being morphed in. So yeah, ZEST still trying of course to deal more damage, and slowly but steadily he's just snapping unit after unit. Let's have a look at the unit composition. We see some Immortals now. Immortals also really perfect against those roaches and ravagers. Some zealots to soak up the first attacks, as it looks like ZEST is going to regroup here in the middle of the map. So after he has dealt so much economic damage, just regrouping and adding more and more units. 2 Immortals in the back, some Archons, some zealots and Stalkers. So nice push by ZEST. Let's see if somehow SCARLETT can survive this. So much damage is being taken. Actually 3 Immortals, but there is a prism, so nice stasis fields here for ZEST. This one Immortal is about to fall, Really great micro here by ZEST with this one prism, but the Ravagers also dealing nice damage with those fireballs against those units. So really great stuff here by SCARLETT. She holds, but at what cost? 16 drones have been sniped and there's still units into this one prism. So we might see some units getting teleported here towards SCARLETT's main. Again, she holds of course, but let's have a look at the army count. All of a sudden ZEST's army has fallen to 28 and 69 already for SCARLETT. But yeah, look at that, how fast ZEST can remake those units, can warp them in thanks to his economy. He has 59 workers versus the 44. But yeah, by the looks of it, SCARLETT's just pulling everything she has towards ZEST. ZEST is intercepting those units. Really nice job, as not that many do make it here through. And yeah, ZEST being able to split those troops in half as more and more damage is being taken here by SCARLETT. So really harder game for her against ZEST. ZEST is able to hold not only that, but with those zealots in the end they will be sacrificed, but those zealots have just stopped the reinforcements train come in, as now ZEST has to retreat a little bit. SCARLETT is pretty much throwing everything she has, as ZEST is just preparing a better position for him to engage those units. We even see one Immortal. ZEST needs to be careful, of course he's going to micro that one back. So the Immortal is really important. And yeah, let's have a look. ZEST actually preparing a counter with those zealots. I believe they will be moving in towards that location, as the Immortal now sadly is going to fall for ZEST. But yeah, there are so many more units. Actually no, ZEST is just completely going to ignore this, and we're once again going into a base trade scenario. This time Immortal once again for ZEST out with his shield holding here, as more and more units have fallen. 13 drones, 15 drones. Let's have a look how those roaches will do into the main from ZEST, but it's just a couple of roaches and the Immortal has finally fallen. But the economy from SCARLETT is falling apart, and yes indeed, this is going to be the GG. So ZEST taking game number 2. So it's 1-1. Let's just jump straight into game number 3. And we're back with game number 3. Currently the score is 1-1. So yeah, just ignore this 0-0 here, as they're spawning now on 2000 atmospheres LE. So once again, let me just start by introducing the players to you guys. Sorry. As we have spawning here in the lower left in the blue, it is ZEST, and his opponent in the upper right in the red, it is SCARLETT. Okay, sorry about my voice right now. Right, we're back, and still the voice is going on, so better voice now. So yeah, let's just see what both players have prepared for us. ZEST looks like pretty much with the same open up, just like in his previous games, just like all the Protosses, just blocking here the expansion point from the Zerg, and opening up here with a pylon of course, and his second probe heading the gateway. Let's have a look at SCARLETT. SCARLETT of course has to adapt. She's going for expansion into this location, as this expansion has been taken by this one probe. And yeah, once again the probe is being as annoying as possible against the Zerg. We see no spawning pool yet. She opens up with her gas, and there's that spawning pool. So you're pretty standard open up, just like in game number 1 and 2 by them. There's also a gas for ZEST, and this time it's going to be interesting to see what exactly ZEST is going for. Is he going for Skytos? Is he going for that robotics facility bay? The robotics facility bay has proven so strong early on against the Zerg. And also let's see how SCARLETT is going to adapt towards those changes. Her overlords her overlord is of course coming in towards the expansion point from ZEST, and that overlord is going to be really important. Perhaps the overlord should just go straight into the main, just to see what that next building, the important building, is going to be. Once again, Stargate or robotics facility bay. That is the question here for the Zerg. At the same time, she could of course try to go for a rush. She could of course try to go for mass Zerglings. It would be a possibility, a little bit of a risky one, but yeah, let's just see what the next steps are going to be here for both players. Right now, just wanted that to block the entrance. Cybernetic score is up, and we see a Stargate. So now ZEST once again going for a Stargate, like many Protosses do, but let's see if this is going to work out for him. He could have of course gone once again for that robotics facility bay, for that move with those Archons, with those invisible Dark Templars. Really strong unit to have against the Zerg, as the Zerg is pretty much relying onto those spores to give vision, and onto that Overlord, just to also give the Overseer, actually, just to give vision as well. So yeah, this time ZEST decides to change tactics. Target is going to be perhaps some oracles early on. Even 2 oracles could deal massive amounts of damage against the economy from the Zerg. And just 1 queen here to defend, as the Overlord actually deciding to move back for SCARLETT. So she's expecting actually a Void Ray indeed. So Void Ray first here for ZEST. So this is why she's taking this Overlord back. And let's see at the next moves. Is she going for a timing push? It could be a possibility. She's of course known for this, for those timing pushes with those roaches, with those ravagers and queens. Really deadly against any Protoss, even against the Terrans. Although Terrans do have tanks, so they're much better equipped to defend against those rushes. Now we're closing in once again at the 5-minute mark. Let's see, the Void Ray is out and there is this one Oracle. So the Oracle could be backed up by a second Oracle, and they really could deal massive amounts of damage against the main, even the main here of course. No Spore yet here for SCARLETT. Let's check this expansion. Finally 1 Spore is out, and there should be a Spore here into this location as well, as we see just 1 Zergling moving out. I believe 1 Zergling has fallen already, as the Oracle is now moving straight towards the expansion point. There are 2 queens, even 3 queens here ready to defend, and 1 Spore. Let's see where ZEST is going straight to the main, and there's not that many defenses, but you know, SCARLETT really nicely reacting with those 2 queens, even though 3 workers have been killed. So the Oracle does of course what it's known best, just sniping those drones, and I believe more oracles should come. But no, actually it's another Void Ray and a second Stargate for ZEST. So let's see what his idea is going to be here into this game, what the next unit is going to be. We could of course try some carriers. It would be interesting to see carriers, Void Rays with carriers, but currently he's just massing those Void Rays out and no gateway units for him. Let's have a look at SCARLETT. Is that tier 2 getting upgraded? Yes, indeed, there it is. So she might go into some Hydro Lurkers, she might go into some Mutalisk. It would be interesting to see some Mutalisk, some Corruptors in case there's really many Void Rays. And we see a Roach Warrant right here in the middle part of the map. So Roaches it is going to be really soon for SCARLETT. And yeah, let's see how ZEST is going to react. Currently he's just defending here his locations, adding a star shield battery, adding those Void Rays. No intention from him to be aggressive with those Void Rays, but as I said, he's regrouping in the middle of the map, so he might try to attack this point. Could be a nice decision by him to snipe this 1 Spore. Let's have a look. 4 Void Rays already out, no Observer, so he doesn't see the Creep X. And yeah, let's see where exactly he's going. SCARLETT reacting of course immediately, pulling those queens, heading into the main. And yeah, let's see, 1 Overlord is going to get sniped, so good pick up here by ZEST. And yeah, let's see what exactly is going for. More no units being produced, so he might just transition into gateway units. Now he might transition into some Zealots with Stalkers. He might go for some High Templars with Storm. Let's see what his decision is going to be, and let's see how SCARLETT is going to react. And she's now pumping out the first Roaches. No, actually she's still droning up, so really nicely, as the queens are nicely defending this position and even spreading more and more creep. 1 Void Ray is falling really low, but yes, ZEST is nicely controlling that one, as SCARLETT has also finished her 3rd expansion. Yeah, the Protoss is also up with his 2 expansions, so 67 workers for the Protoss, 75 for SCARLETT, and 2 drones have once again been sniped. I believe this should have been that Oracle somewhere out. So Oracle of course doing his job really nicely, as now ZEST is going to take here the 9 o'clock, so nice job by him defending his position. And both players are pretty much concentrating onto their macro oriented game here against each other. So let's see what exactly the next unit composition is going to be here for them, as the upgrades are also being finished. SCARLETT sending out the Overseer just to have vision, especially for that main, where she's going to be seeing 3 Stargates, so we have mass Void Rays. She will have to try to transition into into Corruptors. So Corruptors of course should be the perfect answer here against the Void Rays from ZEST. So in comes the Overseer, should give vision, and also she sees that there might be a transition into gateway units. It's always a nice guessing game for the Zerg, and yeah, she also sees that with beacon, so we might see some carriers. It would be a Void Ray into carrier or Tempest, but yeah, Tempest didn't really work out well for ZEST in game number 1. So let's see what exactly he's going to be doing, as there are those Void Rays out now. And yeah, let's see where the next attack point is going to be. Massive amounts of queens, because they can heal each other, and they could be really tanky, as we might see now some lots and lots of sentries, interesting enough, by ZEST. So we might see some force fields being used, and here comes the attack at the 8-minute mark. Nice force fields just splitting those troops. The Void Rays have activated their strong attack here, and yeah, let's see, SCARLETT is going to be able to hold this with those Ravagers, with those queens, nicely kicking back and forward here by ZEST, as he's going to snipe one unit after the other, but at the same time he's taking quite some damage out of those queens in the back, as he has to retreat a little bit more. So yeah, SCARLETT just focusing all of her army into defending that point really nicely against those Void Rays, against those Talkers and those sentries. First sentries really nicely splitting the units from the Zerg, but yeah, in the end ZEST tries a flank, but the queens are ready, and the queens have nicely healed each other as we're closing at the 10-minute mark. So let's see, ZEST tries of course to find another attack point, but yes, SCARLETT should be really fast onto that creep, and she even has some infestors now, infestors with those fungals, really strong against any Protoss. And also let's not forget that they have mind control, and even that dark swarm looking like spell on the ground for those queens to make them much more tankier against the air units. So yeah, the dark swarm, the orange swarm could be used. We actually see one fungal going out, and at the same time, interesting enough, SCARLETT bringing here her roaches forward, as ZEST doesn't really have that many defenses here. He has to come back with his Void Rays, but also those Void Rays are hurt. The roaches can't shoot air, so SCARLETT pretty much has to retreat. The ways however open, so she might transition into mass Zerglings now. Let's see what her next steps are going to be, as ZEST is going to also push here forward just to snap some roaches. So much more balanced game here in between the two pros, and we even see the worker count is much more balanced, as ZEST's economy looking to be really much stronger against SCARLETT. However, not that much gas here for ZEST, as he's also taking here the upper left part against SCARLETT. So yeah, like I told you, much more balanced game, but SCARLETT now going for those Raptors and even some Vipers, perhaps to cast some dark clouds against the Protoss. So let's see what's going to happen here, as one Void Ray after the other is getting snapped, and nice harpoons from those Vipers. This is what I wanted to say, harpoons. So yeah, nice job here by SCARLETT with harpooning those Void Rays, as she can go back and take some energy out of that hatchery. But at the meantime, SCARLETT also nicely sniping this one Nexus. A little bit of a bold move here by ZEST, taking the upper left part, as now SCARLETT looking like she's going to regroup in the middle of the map. A really scary army by her, and let's not forget those infestors with mind control. They could be really deadly against the Protoss. So let's see what is going to happen. Let's also see, and we actually have carriers now for ZEST. So ZEST going into carriers with Void Rays could be really strong. And yeah, a small group actually for the SCARLETT here, but some units will fall. Some 4 probes have fallen, and a nice mix up as the queens are now coming forward to back up those units. But in the end, the carriers are here. So yeah, SCARLETT pretty much has to retreat. There's even one Archon in the front taking quite some damage. In the end, the Archon has been sniped, but so many roaches have fallen as well. Nice fungal once again by those infestors, and even some parasitic bombs. So parasitic bombs looks like dealing so much splash damage against the air units. We have some feedbacks out of those high templars. No Psionic Storm being casted, but lots and lots of parasitic bomb. And yes, ZEST not really microing those carriers, as they're really tanky against those bombs. And let's see what the next steps. We see once again fungals going out, but the Protoss army just keeps marching forward. Queens are nicely healing. Not that many interceptors being left, however, for ZEST, as he has to rebuild them. And yeah, really scary push once again. I believe some zealots will be added here as cannon fodder. So yeah, nice job here by ZEST with his units. So let's have a look what exactly going to happen. Some Zerglings have been added by SCARLETT as well, as ZEST just keeps pushing forward with his units, with his zealots in the front. The carriers are in the back. No more Void Rays to attack those carriers, just one Void Ray, and in comes the Fungals, really great Fungals out by SCARLETT, but the carriers are surrounded. Even Parasitic Bomb is being used and lots of healing, so such a bad position for ZEST against SCARLETT. SCARLETT pretty much just surrounding the army from ZEST, and those carriers are of course not that much mobile. And yeah, nice job by SCARLETT clearing those carriers, and she even has so many corruptors, so she might try to vomit onto this one Nexus. The probes are not mining, so a little bit of a mistake by ZEST, but it happens of course. And look at that, the corruptors are moving out, so they really might even vomit here onto this one Nexus. Sadly for ZEST, he's not really prepared. Yeah, no defenses here, so yeah, nice job by SCARLETT using this one vomit out of those corruptors. Finally the probes do react, but it's a little bit too late as the Nexus has fallen. So many corruptors for SCARLETT. She has now the air supremacy. Let's see, is she going to vomit onto this one Nexus as well, or she's going for the main? So yeah, ZEST pretty much just has to go for Stalkers now, of course. Stalkers just to counter those corruptors. We do have some banelings now, we do have some roaches, really many units for SCARLETT as she's rolling with so many banelings, going for the Nexus, going for the workers, pretty much surrounding everything ZEST has, and ZEST is pretty much being attacked left and right. Some units come here forward, the Void Rays have activated their power attack, but yeah, now those corruptors will take care of that. We do see some Archons in the lower ground, and we see some Zealots finally coming here forward to push this back, but in the end so many workers have fallen. Banelings once again rolling in here just to snipe more and more workers, so much action going on left and right in between the two pros, as both players will try to regroup of course and to once again attack. But yeah, let's see how things will unfold, as Zealots is going to be the answer for ZEST against those units, and some Stalkers with some Archons. Yeah, really nice job here by ZEST, but in the end the Fungal once again doing miracles for SCARLETT. Really nice usage out of that spell. And yeah, we see once again great Fungal by those Infestors, and the Roaches will deal the rest of the damage. We see another expansion here, but the real damage is happening here, and so many Broodlords being produced by SCARLETT. Look at that, so many Broodlords. Of course ZEST, as soon as he saw those Broodlords, he just GG'd out. So nice job here by SCARLETT. Let's just jump straight into game number 4. And we're back with game number 4, this time on Berlingrade, in between the two pros. Once again in the upper left, in the blue it is ZEST, and his opponent in the lower right, in the red it is SCARLETT. Once again ZEST on the move out with his probes, building this one pylon of course, and being annoying with the probe in the front, just like many Protosses do. So the pretty standard stuff for him. I believe the same can be said for SCARLETT, as I don't see a spawning pool yet for her out. Just the one Overlord, just to see the probe coming in. Minerals are of course being saved for the hatchery. The second Overlord is out. But yeah, ZEST with a nice timing once again, being able to cancel the first expansion point for SCARLETT, as she should be able to move into this location just to expand here. I don't need to gateway, pretty standard as the gas. So we have the same build order just like in the previous games by the pros. And yeah, ZEST knows of course the timing as well, as he's moving here forward. But at the same time SCARLETT could of course not build this hatchery and just come back here and build the hatchery into this point. But yeah, so much time would have been lost. So in the end most Zergs really like to go for the expansion point here into this location. Now we also see gas and spawning pool, so pretty standard stuff like I told you. And let's have a look at what exactly the strategy is going to be here for ZEST. Those Stargates really did move out really well for him. The Void Rays in the end of course nicely being contested by the Raptors for SCARLETT. So he might try once again something out of the ordinary, perhaps once again the robotics facility bay, or even mass gateway units. We've seen Hero do this with mass Zealots, mass Stalkers. It could be an interesting job, added by some High Templars, perhaps some Archons. Let's see what his decision is going to be. Disruptors could also be a interesting unit against also many Zergs units. So let's just see exactly what both of them will prepare for us, as the pilot is about to finish here, and pretty soon we're going to be seeing what exactly the strategy from ZEST is going to be, as the two gases are up, and the second expansion will also be added really quick. For SCARLETT, some queens are being produced. Cybernetic score is up with gateway, and we see once again a Stargate. So interesting enough, ZEST once again going for a Stargate. Is it going to be Void Ray first just to snipe this one Overlord, or is he going straight into Oracles? Oracles early on could be really deadly against all of those drones. Let's see what exactly his plans are going to be. You see once again in the upper left part the production tab. Oh yeah, there it is, the production tab, just in case I'm missing something. Have a look what the strategy is going to be. SCARLETT of course retreating with this one Overlord, as she's sensing some Stargate with a Oracle Force. So finally we see a more aggressive Protoss against the Zerg. The Oracle might be followed up by a second Oracle, even a third or even 4 Oracles. Why not, just to inflict as much economic damage against the Zerg. And let's see, even 2 Adepts are moving forward, so ZEST looking to be much more aggressive, just like in the previous games. The Adepts might try to snipe 1 drone or 2, 1 has been killed, the second one as well, and the Adepts even sniping 1 Zergling, so really right push, as the Oracle is also out, followed by a second Oracle. So yeah, this is the strategy this time by ZEST. He's being much more aggressive against SCARLETT, not really going to allow her list in the early game to expand as much as possible. So every kill now counts, every drone kill counts really hard against the economy from the Protoss, and in comes this one, even sniping this one Larva. So interesting enough, ZEST really inflicting so much damage against SCARLETT. Look at that, 3 more workers killed, so in the end 5 workers have fallen towards those Adepts and the 1 Oracle. And let's not forget that there is a second Oracle coming, and let's have a look. No more units are being produced, as 2 more gateways have been added. So at the same time we also see an expansion. So the Oracle here, interesting enough, not deciding to move out towards the points, the expansion points from SCARLETT. Let's just check her main. There's that Roach Warren, so she might once again go for a timing push. Spores are being added, so I guess this is exactly why ZEST is not going to move out with those Oracles, but actually, as I say that he's moving out with his Oracles. Let's see if he's going to be successful. There is a Spore here, but it's just 1, so some drones might once again getting sniped, even 3 drones. Let's have a look how these Oracles do really fast with their attacks. So 2 drones fall really quick, and yes, ZEST is just going to micro them back just to allow that shield to get rejuvenated. So let's see the next steps, what exactly is going to happen. One Spore here into the main, still no tier 2 for SCARLETT, as she's now moving out with some Queen Eggs, with some Zerglings, but they've been intercepted by those Adepts. And yeah, ZEST is nicely forcing the SCARLETT back with those Adepts, but in the end he's just going to shade also back, just to give time for this expansion to finish, and for some shield batteries perhaps, or for some cannons. SCARLETT looking like she's going to be spreading more and more of that creep around the map, and the queens looking like they're just going to move here forward. So lots and lots of queens against those Adepts and against those Oracles. Let's see if this is going to move out. Good for her, as some Zerglings also move out, and we see indeed a timing push by SCARLETT with Roaches, with Ravagers and Queens in the front, just to clear the way. We see those Oracles coming in, sniping 1 Ravagers almost actually, as he's getting healed by the Queens. There's no more energy for those Oracles. Still 1 Ravager has been killed, and let's see what exactly ZEST is going to be doing. He's recalling some of his units, and he's actually in really big trouble. The Oracles move forward, but there is no energy, and SCARLETT really strong with her push here around the 6-minute mark. The shield battery will deal so much healing towards those Stalkers, as those Queens will of course have to be sniped, but we do have 2 Tempests in the air, and those Tempests are really important for ZEST against those Queens especially. And we even see some Adepts shading in and out. The expansion here is lost, so ZEST once again taking quite some damage, but this time he has 2 Tempests in the air, as more and more shield batteries are being produced in the back, and so many more Zerglings do pull here forward, but the way is shut. However, the cybernetic score has fallen now, as the Zerglings do make it here forward. The Tempest now attacking those Ravagers, those Queens in the back. The oracles are also attacking. 9 drones have been killed. Hold on, where exactly is this happening? Here into this location. So ZEST with a nice counter attack, killing the economy from SCARLETT. SCARLETT pushing of course with everything she has here forward, but sadly for her so many workers have been killed as ZEST is holding, and not only that, with those adepts is bringing him his victory. So we have a 2-2 score. Let's just jump straight in. Game wins the series as the pros are spawning now on Blackburn, a 2 spawning location map, also with a nice gold mine here into this location. So once again, let me just start by introducing the players. In the lower right in the red, it is SCARLETT from Canada, and her opponent in the lower left in the blue, it is ZEST from South Korea, who also has of course the same expansion point, the same gold base. Yeah, let's see what is going to happen. Same open up ZEST once again, just to cancel the expansion point from SCARLETT. We don't see a spawning pool yet for SCARLETT, so it looks like the pretty standard open up for the Zerg as well. In comes the pro, perfect timing for ZEST, as is also opening up here, pretty standard with a pylon and gateway. So this looks like the same build order for the pros against the Zergs and against the Protoss. SCARLETT taking her expansion, still no gas, still no spawning pool of course, as slowly but steadily that overload is making its way towards the main from ZEST. Once again, it's going to be interesting to see what exactly ZEST is going for, especially just to counter a timing push, if it is going to be a timing push from SCARLETT. We see the gas going up around the 1 minute and 50 second mark, also the spawning pool. So yeah, that's pretty standard open up by both of them, just like in the previous games I believe. The only important thing is going to be exactly to see what exactly ZEST is going for. Is it going to be a sky toss, or is it going to be something cheesy with some Dark Templars like we've seen with some Archons, with some Stalkers, and Sentry push could be very strong against any Zerg who is not prepared. Cybernetic score is following up. We see a Nexus. Yeah, let's see how SCARLETT is going to approach this game. Her expansion is about to finish. Second expansion should follow up really soon. And yeah, let's see. Now the second gas is also almost about to be finished, and this is one important pylon here for ZEST, and we're about to find out what exactly his plans are for the future of this game, as the overlord is also nicely parking himself here into this location. So yeah, there's that one pylon, and interesting enough, the overlord is just waiting of course perhaps for some units to come out, and in case there are no units coming out, or SCARLETT should know that it is going to be a sky toss strategy. We've seen how good oracles are in the previous games. We see how much economic damage they can deal against those drones. So double oracles would be really deadly. At least 5 drones can be killed, and of course if you're not prepared as a Zerg, even more and more workers can be killed out of those oracles. Really strong unit to have early on for any Protoss in the air, as we see the expansion now being finished by SCARLETT. She adds some queens, she's adding some more drones. She's droning up already 225, 29 workers for ZEST army wise. Just small armies of course, as slowly but steadily we're closing at the 5-minute mark. And yeah, second adept is also being pushed out. We saw how good adepts are as a counter, so ZEST might try to build more and more adepts just to allow SCARLETT to attack him, but at the same time to counter attack SCARLETT. So we see a first Void Ray. Interesting enough, he's going for a Void Ray now against Zerg, so no oracles for him. Oracles did however work out really well, so interesting enough, Void Ray first, perhaps just to chase this one oracle, this one overlord away, but the oracle, I mean the overlord is already out, hidden out. So yes, ZEST might try to secure his expansion point with this Void Ray with the adept. So really safe gameplay by him, as we see the first fast Zerglings out on the map for SCARLETT, and there's that one expansion not defended, interesting enough. So the Void Ray is out with the adept, as they have to come back to defend this location. One probe has been sniped, and yeah, let's see what exactly the next steps are going to be. A nice spread of those overloads for SCARLETT. She has overloads all over her place in the air, just to see exactly what is coming here forward. And at the 4-minute mark we see a Void Ray with an oracle. The Void Ray just to soak up the first attacks, and the oracle just to snipe those workers. 3 workers have been sniped, and even more could come as the oracle is moving here forward, but not that much energy being left for her. So yeah, the next overlords, sorry, the next oracles can be pushed out, as a second Stargate is also being produced. And we also see SCARLETT taking now her gold base. So yeah, really nice stuff by both players. Great defense by SCARLETT, only losing 3 workers. However, worker wise, ZEST already moving here forward towards the 50 count, as his expansion is also about to be finished here. So let's see what the next steps are going to be. Nice creep spread once again by SCARLETT, as ZEST has no observer in the air. And yeah, let's see, it's just moving here forward with 1 void, with 1 adept. But yeah, many queens should be able to hold this off. There's even a spore. And yes, ZEST still doesn't know about this expansion into this point. So let's see what exactly is going to happen as more and more void rays are being produced. Let's check the main. Yes, indeed, it's going to be mass void rays for ZEST. Perhaps a later transition into gateway units could be a possibility, but right now it's just mass void rays in the air. And yeah, tier 2 also being done by SCARLETT, as she's going of course for. Could be of course some lurkers, could be some hydras, could be some mutalisk in the air. We're about to find out what exactly her plans are. It could also be a nice timing push once again, as she's known for those roaches with ravagers. And yeah, still defensive gameplay by ZEST. Of course, this is the last game. Whoever takes this wins the series. And yeah, both players are pretty cautious and pretty standard. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. What is she going to be adding? An infestation pit could also be added for those infestors, as we see a nice army now move out by ZEST. 4 void rays straight into this one expansion point, but the queens are already, and they can heal of course themselves. So nice defend. Of course, SCARLETT knows how important this gold base is, as ZEST should perhaps try to take his gold base as well. So SCARLETT is going to hold here. Let's have a look at the main. What exactly is going to be produced? Just some couple of upgrades and some units. We're about to find out what exactly the plans from SCARLETT are going to be. The same can be said here for ZEST. Of course, he really wants to know what exactly is going to be added, and we see 1 spire being added, as the overseer is also coming here forward, just to see the double, actually the triple Stargate for ZEST. So nice decision by SCARLETT going for this 1 spire. Those corruptors will be really deadly against those corruptors, against those carriers, sorry. And yeah, let's see, finally the overseer is going to get sniped, but the information has been drawn towards SCARLETT, as more and more roaches are actually being produced here for her. So lots and lots of roaches. We might see a roach ravager push once again for SCARLETT, as we're closing in at the 10-minute mark. But yeah, those void rays in the air could be really deadly against that. And even carriers in the air, if they're nicely hidden in the back or somewhere where they can't be touched by those ravager balls. So let's see, nice air toss unit, army composition, and we even see a robotics facility bay with 1 observer. As finally ZEST is going to clear some of the queen eggs, and we see SCARLETT actually moving up with so many queens, with ravagers, with roaches, actually massive amounts of ravagers. For SCARLETT, we have the 8-minute mark, and this looks really strong. Some Zerglings in the front, not that many, but really heavy amounts of queens and ravagers for SCARLETT as she's pushing forward. We do see some carriers for ZEST and some void rays who are powering up here really soon, but the queens are nicely healing themselves up, and even the ravager balls are forcing those units back from ZEST, as now ZEST is moving a little bit back. Of course, the interceptors have fallen. That'll be here for him with those carriers. With no interceptors, the carriers are pretty much useless. But perhaps Tempest would have been a better decision for ZEST, just like in the previous games. And yeah, let's see, the queens are moving forward. It's just massive amounts of ravagers, some roaches for SCARLETT, as the ravager balls will deal damage towards the nexus. Now finally the voiders are powering up, but they need to retreat. So many workers will fall for ZEST, 8 of them. So really great timing push once again for SCARLETT, even securing her expansions, and more units are being produced, as ZEST has to find a better position for those carriers. The carriers are really low on interceptors, and just the void rays are the real damage dealers now. ZEST is going to perhaps transition indeed into more and more void rays. Of course, this should be the answer against this army move out by SCARLETT. The other Voidway is all regrouping, but Scarlet heading straight towards the next expansion points. Having the Ravager balls will deal once again damage towards this one Nexus. Nice kiting back and forth by ZEST, but in the end some Voidways will fall as the Queens can heal themselves up. This is the previous patch, of course, no? And yeah, Ravager balls attacking left and right. Some Zerglings in the front, and now ZEST just pretty much has to fight. Pretty much being surrounded here by all of those units. The carriers are not that much mobile, not that many interceptors, as more and more damage is being dealt. ZEST finally transitioning into some Stalkers just to defend. Voidways are still tanky, still holding the position, holding the ground. But we even see one Corruptor now, but the expansion has fallen here as well for ZEST. 23 workers have fallen here as well for him. A really strong push by Scarlet, snapping those 2 expansions. And is ZEST somehow going to be able to hold this back and somehow counter this? The Voidways are still in the air. Damage is being taken by the army from Scarlet. But yeah, she has managed to kill so many workers. ZEST dropping at 39 versus the 72. And let's see, as she's now transitioning to those Corruptors. So the Corruptors will be the perfect answer against those Voidways in the air. What exactly is ZEST going for? More and more Voidways, of course. But Scarlet seems to be prepared for that with those Corruptors. She even might try to vomit once again onto this one Nexus. Will be a good target for those Corruptors. Is she going here for to vomit? Let's have a look. No, she's actually retreating back as the Voidways targeted now the main force for that economy, even activating their power upgrade. And yeah, let's see, the Corruptors are coming with so much power for those Voidways, and now even a recall. So yeah, nice job by ZEST sniping this one expansion. But at the same time, Scarlet moving here forward with those Zerglings, with those Ravagers. And yeah, the Voidways are here. They're here to attack, but I see another move out by Scarlet, and this time it looks like she's ready to vomit onto this one Nexus. Would be a great, actually she's splitting the vomit. She could vomit onto this Nexus and the other Nexus, but yeah, she has to regroup and just cancel that and just attack those Voidways. So Voidways nicely microed here, but there's just so many Corruptors by Scarlet, and one Voidway will fall after the other. The Corruptors will fall as well, but so many of them. I believe even the Zerglings have snapped this one Nexus in the air. So here's Scarlet taking game number 3 as the series has finished. 3-2 for Scarlet. What an exciting series we had here, with many transitions into other units. Really nice stuff by both players. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be seeing, of course, in the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.